ASUS Zenbook OLED 14 with newest, not the newest already, but pretty new Intel chip, Intel Ultra 7155H 3.8 gigahertz is a hero of the day. So basically there's a lot of videos about this laptop on YouTube that, that state that this is one of the kings of value to performance. So if you want something that performs really good and you don't want to spend a lot of money and you want something for productivity and something for gaming, this laptop actually can hit a sweet spot. And in many respects, yes. However, all the benchmarks and tests on the internet do not show you the real picture of what these new laptops with Intel chipset are. If you're considering to buy Intel Ultra 7 lineup of laptops or the newest Intel Core Ultra 2, you may really want to look into this video or wait until the end of this video where I will tell you about all the pros and cons after like months of usage and doing some heavy projects, some video editing, photo editing, and some gaming on it. And I share like real life results, not only benchmarks, because I'm not really interested too much in that, but how this thing performs in real life. So we will divide it into pros and cons, and I'll start with cons because maybe we'll leave this positive aspect for the end. So what are the downsides of this machine? So again, a lot of YouTubers, a lot of reviewers will tell you it performs practically or almost the same on battery and plugged into the outlet, but that's not exactly true. While exporting video, yes, the drop in frame rates when exporting in DaVinci Resolve, for example, can be around 10%. So it's not really much, maybe a little bit more, maybe 20%, but really it drops like from 40 frames per second to 35 or 33 frames per second. So that's what you're looking at. But overall performance when you unplug it, it's much lower. I mean, to give you an example, like I can turn on like Edge now and I'm waiting for it to play. And when I'm playing some video, see some footage of old games or stuff, you can see that sometimes when you have a lot of tabs open, it starts to get a little choppy. It doesn't play it back smoothly, so the frame rates are dropping a little bit and it starts to be choppy. Same with scrolling the video, scrolling the website, it can get really slower. So something to keep in mind. I'm not saying is the end of the world, but if you compare it with Mac, like a lot of people do, MacBook Air, and I have in my studio both MacBook Air M1 and MacBook Air M3, those computers give you much smoother experience when unplugged. It's exactly the same as when they are plugged. In case of those laptops, it's not that beautiful, not that peaches and cream anymore. So something to keep in mind. If you want to use this computer unplugged, you have to turn off some of your browser tabs or some software, some programs that you were running in the background, because this computer will not allow you to operate smoothly. Now, the next thing is color correction, color grading in DaVinci Resolve. While this computer is completely capable of video editing and it's perfectly fine for that, there are some downsides there. Like for example, when you use, like in my case, 10-bit footage, 4K, 10-bit in 30 frames per second, 4:2, and you import it to the timeline and then you try to work, for example, with curves, there's something strange going on. I think it's a matter of optimization or some kind of drivers there. However, you have to wait to see the result, and it lasts quite a while, around maybe a minute. So that's ridiculous. But after that, just to calm down. After that, the computer starts to work again like normally. So again, like it's like something is turning on, like caching shaders or whatever, like in gaming world, but there is some delay. Later on, it works flawlessly, it works very good, and it's not like you can edit in full 4K resolution, no problem, and you don't have to use any proxy files. If you use heavy files, you will have to turn some settings down here and there, but it is absolutely capable of video editing with those little quirks. Now, again, It's not a deal breaker, but something to keep in mind. Next one is photo editing. When it comes to photo editing, this is also a very capable computer, and actually at this price point, I managed to buy it around, in the US, it will be around $700, including tax, including everything. It was on sale. So it is a bargain. It is a well-performant. However, when editing my 32 megapixel photos from A7 Mark IV, Sony A7 Mark IV, I see that there are some, when using Bridge as a browser, like trying to scroll and view different photos. If you have a lot of photos in one folder, this computer can get really slow. It's like giving you the preview of these images and scrolling through the images can be a little choppy. It's not as smooth as on Mac by any stretch. However, having said that, if you plug it in, the situation is getting much, much better. Again, this is not a deal breaker, but something definitely to keep in mind. Another situation here that we want to look at is its performance when it comes to gaming. So it is capable gaming machine that if you turn these settings down, if you use Intel XeSS or AMD FSR, so some kind of AI accelerated upscaling or frame generation techniques, this definitely can run any game on the market right now without any limits. However, something to keep in mind is that even when you turn your settings down, the gameplay can become a little choppy. So it's like emulation. When you emulate games from different systems, there is this like cache readout, shader readout, and you have to compile it. It feels a little bit like that, like compilation, like shader compilation. So it gets choppy and then smooth back. No problem. So there are some downsides of gaming, and both plugged in and unplugged. You have to turn off everything in the background, and if you want to have smooth experience, you have to turn some resolution down and turn the details down so it can really run smooth. So it is a very capable gaming machine, but this gaming is not as smooth as I expected it to be. So even if you see a benchmark, let's say Forza Horizon 5 performs at 60 frames per second, there are drastic drops that are visible. This is generally regarding Windows. A lot of driver updates. There's a lot of updates that I had to go through before this laptop started to perform at its best. So first of all, if you buy this laptop, first thing you want to do is want to install all the drivers like Arc driver, like update Windows, update drivers for other like internals here, so that you can really get the optimal performance. In case of Mac, if you buy Mac, no matter if you updated the Mac or not, it will perform pretty much the same. However, in case of this laptop, you have to go through all the updates to make it perform really well. And with this choppiness of video playback when unplugged, when this computer is unplugged, actually I read on forums that some previous versions of the drivers resolved this problem, and then the problem came back, and then the problem disappeared, and then I updated the drivers again, and I again have the choppiness of the playback in Edge browser. If you turn off hardware acceleration of your video playback, then it's smooth again, which is ridiculous. It's not a matter of power of this machine, because it's obviously powerful enough to play like YouTube videos or whatever videos, but like optimization and driver issues are still there despite some time from the release of Intel Arc GPUs. Now let's talk about good things. I love the screen. The OLED screen is amazing. It's like rich, vibrant, and the touch functionality is something you won't find anywhere on the Mac. And I don't really use touch function, but if you want something with touch, then this is something that really performs beautifully and really well. When plugged in, this computer performs fantastically. First thing you want to install on this computer is G-Helper, that helps you to control the modes of this computer. So you have silent, balanced, and turbo. So if you want to get the most out of this computer because of its watt restraints, you want to plug in the computer to the wall and then switch in G-Helper, switch it to turbo mode. It can get loud. something that I didn't mention in the downsides of this computer, but at the other hand, it really performs great. So then editing process is much smoother, exporting process is much smoother, gaming on this machine is much smoother. So basically, like, having a thin and light laptop that can run any game at pretty decent frame rates is again a very good result. So as you see, I mentioned that gaming is a downside of this machine because it's not a, you know, perfect gaming machine, but at the other hand, having such a thing that you can pack with you and take it with yourself to some trip and do some light gaming here and there, not even light gaming, but you can actually run, I don't know, like really demanding games like Forza Horizon. So that's a big thing. Image editing is really good. The acceleration works really fine. So exporting images works fine. This scrolling thing is a downside, but as soon as all the thumbnails are read, all the thumbnails generated, then it starts to perform really smooth. And the other advantage that I think this computer gives you is a small charger, 60-watt charger. It's small, it's compact, it's easy to take with you, so you don't have to consider like a big, huge power brick like you do with normal, gaming laptops. So these are some of the advantages of this computer. The other one is the keyboard. I actually love the keyboard on ASUS. It's very nice to use. The layout is very easy to work with. I rarely miss the button here. So in general, it's a very good laptop experience. So to sum up, there are some real downsides to this laptop, specifically when it comes to video editing or to thumbnail generation for photographers. There are some drops in frame rates when you are gaming. However, at the other hand, it is still a pretty cheap, not cheap, but pretty well priced laptop with great display, with great performance, and I hope you could see that it really can perform in real life. I don't want to make it too long, but I just want to share the real experience with this laptop. So here it is. The I/O is, by the way, pretty cool because you will not find a USB-A on any Mac laptop. So having USB-A on this laptop is also a very nice thing to have. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed it. Leave thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't before, and I see you in the next recording. Ciao.